if you hate getting hard inquiries or wasting hard inquiries, then this video is going to help you. All right. And the reason is I got 5 different credit cards that I'm going to tell you about that you can possibly avoid a hard inquiry. Now, here's the thing about it. People avoiding hard inquiries, is that most people that usually avoid the hard inquiry, they have at least a 680 or higher credit score. All right. So that being said, one of the easiest ways for you to avoid a hard inquiry on your credit file, if you're with a bank, okay, and you want a higher limit, let's just say that you applied for 2 credit cards at the same time, right? So let's just say you applied for 2 Bank of America credit cards, right? So they gave you the 2 cards. However, both of the cards gave you lower limits. So what you could do is transfer the balance from one of those cards over to the other card, okay? This is going to increase the balance of it. Then usually if it's within the same period, you may be able to qualify for another credit card as well. Now, I'm just using Bank of America as an example. It's usually the credit unions that will allow you to do it, that you have the potential to do it the most. That's the reason why, like, you see people talk about getting $150,000 through Chase or something like that. The reason that's happening is because they'll get the lower limits and they'll move all the lower limits over to the credit card that has 0% interest. So then when they use that credit card, they're not paying any interest on it. And also it gives them a higher balance. All right. So that's what, that's one of the things that I wanted to share with you. Sorry about that. I was a little distracted. Now, here's the things about these here 5 credit cards. All right. Let's take Citizens Bank. Okay. So with Citizens Bank, a lot of people don't know that they actually switched. They switched from pulling Equifax to using Experian. Now, here's the thing about it that people don't know, that you actually can do the Experian hack with them, meaning that you can go and do a pre-approval, okay, to see what you approve for. Then you open up another screen and lock up your file, okay, your Experian file, then apply for that card. Now, I always tell people, whenever you're doing this hack, just expect sometimes it may be a 2 or 3 day delay, okay? Because they got to try to figure out what happened here. How do we get around this in order to approve you? And like I said, most of the time with people with a higher credit score, they usually will ask for less documentation as well, okay? I'm just giving you some insight. And I would tell you the dollar amount that usually you want to put on a application, especially with the banks. The dollar amounts for to have the chance of a higher approval is usually like maybe about 70, 68 and higher, okay? 72 or higher, okay? If you're in between that range or whatever, again, it makes it much easier for them to give you those like $5, $10, $15, $25,000 credit cards. Now, also, you have to take into consideration about your DTI, your debt to income ratio as well. So just keep that in mind. Now, the next card, and this card is almost gone, and I keep on telling you guys, is with the Apple Card. So with the Apple Card, it's issued through Goldman Sachs. But we all know about the Apple Card hack, where you go and do the pre-approval, okay? And then you go and lock up your TransUnion, because Goldman Sachs uses TransUnion, okay? Use TransUnion FICO 9. So you lock up your TransUnion, then you go back and you hit the submit button on the application. And again, like I said, it may give you that 2 or 3 day delay, but you should end up getting approved for the card if all your other data points are intact to actually get approved for the card. Now, here's something that a lot of people don't know. when you lock up your file like that, okay, so that forces the banks to use other resources. More likely, those other resources, they may use one of the two resources, okay? Since they can't pull from your regular credit report, they may use Innovis, okay? And the reason they may use Innovis because Innovis updates the address and stuff. So that's one of the biggest things that they're actually checking for, to see if this is a legitimate application by the name and the address, okay? That's what they're looking for. Then sometimes they may use LexisNexis when the file is locked as well. Again, they're just looking for ways to identify you. All right, that's the main thing that they're trying to do. How do we identify this person in order to approve them? So just keep that in mind. So if you have like your Innovis locked or your LexisNexis locked for certain institutions and stuff, this may also be a cause of you being denied. All right, now the next credit card, and I mentioned this one, is about the Rakuten Amex card. Okay, and again, you can do the pre-approval with this here. Now, I want to tell you something, all right? But I'll wait till I get to these other two cards because it's very important, because you need to know it. And if you don't know it, it can actually hurt your credit file. So just one moment. But what I want to tell you about the Rakuten, this is the one, again, you can lock the file and you can end up getting higher limits. Plus, you can double dip with the bank that actually issues that card. All right, so that's one of the best things about it. Now, they usually will pull TransUnion on that, okay, but you should be able to double dip on that and you get multiple cards with high limits. All right, now I want to talk about these last two cards, all right, because they're through Synchrony Bank. Okay, so with Synchrony Bank, they're looked at as a high risk type of bank, just like Capital One, okay? And the thing about it, when you are dealing with Synchrony Bank, any cards issued through Synchrony Bank or whatever, and you have multiple cards on it, anything can go wrong and they'll shut down all your cards. So you have to be very careful when dealing with them, all right? Now, I was talking about the Walmart One Plus and the hack for that to get the higher limit. Again, you do the pre-approval. Okay, so once you do the pre-approval, they're going to do a soft pull, more likely on your Equifax. All right, then you go lock up your credit profile. All right, some people wait a few hours, some people wait 24 hours, but then they come back and they apply. What ends up happening, more likely, if they offered you the first go round $3,000, more likely when you go back, they don't probably double that. Okay, that's what usually happens. So if they offer you a limit that you're not happy with, just abandon cart, okay? Because they already have your information. Abandon cart anywhere from 3 hours to, from 3 hours up to 24 hours. Sorry about that. I'm distracted because my son. So just one moment.